Hi, I'm Bruce Burke. We're back with another exciting episode of the AI Bros under the absolutely incredible podcast banner. I've got with me my co host, your friend and mine, John Lawson III, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
John,
wow, the
how's
third,
how
yeah.
the third? Yes, and you got Janet there, co-hosting there, and
There she goes. Yes, sir. You sure do.
there you go. Um, So what's going on? What do you got going on this week? What's happening out there?
Well, it's always something. I mean, give me a break, man. Well, actually, we never get a break. AI is just rolling and rolling and rolling, advancement after advancement. So I actually pulled a couple of headlines. So let's see what you got to say. How about that?
Kind of AI related, kind of e-commerce and payment related, kind of blockchain and crypto related. Top of my mind, and the thing I watched the most recently, which is why it's top of mind, was the World and WorldCoin and World app thing that Sam Altman's behind, where they essentially they have an orb, and it's some kind of machine that they've developed, and it will scan your retina. And they say that's the only one true way to control your identity, right? To ascertain that you are a human and not one of 1 million bots that's going to be John Lawson III, right? Out there on the internet,
Right.
right? So,
Wow.
there's a crypto behind it. They just released a crypto. They just did like their annual conference, and they say they've got, I don't know, 10 million, 20 million users, something like that. So they're now. So this thing that you go to scan, it's a great big piece of machinery, and it's apparently very complex. So they've had it in just a few locations, and now they're opening up with more locations. And apparently they've got a little mini one that you can, like, people can buy it and carry around with them. And so you got to scan to get on the network, essentially, right? You got to scan in, and very interesting stuff. But Sam's behind it. And some other people. And I just posted earlier today. The Verge did a quick rundown on it. They attended the event, and Alex Heath, who is the one that has been doing all the AI stuff for them. He's done those recent meta stuff and all that. He did a pretty good rundown on what it's all about. It's like a 10-minute video. So if you guys are connected on Facebook, I might put something in the newsletter maybe tomorrow about it. You know, there's a lot of stories, so only the strong survive.
So only eyeballs. So they're going to be cutting your eyeballs out at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't think
yeah.
about it that way, but yes,
Oh,
yes.
absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely. I can see it in a Mission Impossible movie soon enough.
right.
Yeah, exactly. Seems like
There.
okay. I don't want to get too
Yeah,
gross,
graphic.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but it does seem like there was a beheading, and it had to hold the head up to the. I don't remember what it was, but I remember that in a movie a while back. Long time. It might have been even the 80s, 90s, But eye scanners were the thing. And that's interesting.
Yeah.
Only eyes now. Only
So,
eyes.
so, and it's interesting that the guy who I would say is like one of the biggest advocates of AI and slash AGI, right? Because he's made no bones that that's what he's in hot pursuit of, right? Um, is at the same time telling you we got to have this so we can understand, and verify, that you're a real human when you're, accessing. And they've their crypto has actually partnered with Visa. So if you have their coin, right, and you need to scan your eyeball to get into your wallet and everything else, at the point of sale, Visa will convert it in real time to fiat and pay it.
Hmm.
So, and you
Well, that's
get some
huge.
crypto for scanning. They're coming to Atlanta. They're opening a center in Atlanta. They announced. So I want you to check
That's
it out.
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Keep me on the loop on that one,
yeah.
man. How about the Meta what did they call it? Llama something. Uh,
LlamaCon, LlamaCon.
LlamaCon. There we go. How about LlamaCon?
I
Any
was
cool
expecting,
things?
because I've heard all these rumors in the channels about a new pair of glasses that has, like, a little field, like we talked about it before, has a little field down in the bottom of the right hand side or something, like real lightweight stuff, directions and that kind of stuff. No new glasses announced.
Yeah,
They
no.
they were showing off the Orions, but they showed those off a little while ago. That's like a 3D holographic kind of a glass. It's not really an AI glass. It's more of a AR kind of a glass, but a lot of stuff. They released three different models. One's called Behemoth, and it's like 400 quadrillion zillion parameters or something. I don't know. It's this huge LLM, right? And he's like, we're like trying to figure out how we're getting ready to release it to the API, but right now we're trying to figure out like how to control it and release it into the API. And I was like, what the hell? Like, how powerful? He's like, we really haven't found where people would really have a whole lot of use cases for this amount of compute, right? Like, so it's kind of strange, right?
Hey, yeah, I remember. Yeah, at some point they will,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah,
Right. I
curing
mean,
diseases, discovering new, who knows, right? I don't know anything about science. I'm a regular guy that doesn't know anything about anything. I'm a master of none. But yeah,
yeah.
it was a very interesting event. It was about developers that are developing on the Meta AI platform, and they announced a lot of stuff coming to the API. There's three different variants: Scout, and then I forget what the middle one is. Normal, let's call it. Good, better, best, right? And Behemoth is the big one. But Mark had what's his name? Kind of surprising. Microsoft and Meta together on the stage as the closing thing. Satya Nadella sat down on the stage with him, so that was interesting.
Yeah, it seems like Microsoft is courting everybody at this point. So yeah, I saw another story about them doing some work with Grok and putting Grok into their new playground. So
I
Microsoft's everywhere.
I think the model this year, or like moving forward from here, is what they're going to call the federated model. Essentially, a drop down and pick your LLM. I'm already starting to see a lot of, I don't know what you want to call it, subscription services for AI. That's just a front end that says all the AIs are here, and it will automatically choose the one you need based on what you're going to do. So it's a unified interface. I saw that Apple is going to be adding Google Gemini along, so you'll be able to choose, like send it out
Mm,
to ChatGTP, send it to Gemini, right? Get another, get some of that subscription money too, right? Like let's get that rolling in the door, right? Services was
that's going to
down
be
on
interesting.
their
That's
service revenue, which is usually really high, was kind of down on this. They just did their quarter report, right, and their service revenue was a little bit down. So let's sell some more subscriptions to Gemini, right? That'll prop that up a little bit.
hey, they're going to have to do whatever they have to do at this point.
And
And the
also,
more AI, the better for Apple.
I saw where they moved this guy. I think his name is Rockwell. Last name, I don't remember his first name. I want to say Sam, but I'm probably wrong. Um, and he's like overseeing the. Uh, Essentially, they were trying to keep Siri as it was, and then just kind of augment some stuff on top of it. But the old Siri and the new AI stuff wasn't,
Yeah,
meshing
they
too
won't
good,
play well together. Yeah,
right? So they're yanking the old Siri out and replacing it with one of these new, quick
good.
talking marvels and all that. So and apparently on iOS 19, which is just around the corner, because we're on what 18.4, something like that now. So it's not going to be as far out, they think, as they said it was going to be like a month or 2 months ago, because they thought it was like 2 years
Gonna
from
be
now
mid.
they're going to have it.
Yeah.
Right? But
Hey, but
yeah.
they're pretty late already. So
Yeah, they're always a little bit late and they come with something better. I have a feeling now that they're like, they got all engineers with both oars in the water, like, just like all hands on deck. We got to get this
we got to
going,
do
right?
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
they got to do something. They got to do something. They're losing a lot of their moat.
Yeah. And I always thought they were pretty good at kind of artificial intelligence that was kind of like the Apple magic, right? Some of the things that went on behind the scenes, right? That it was simple to the end user, but it was some really sophisticated stuff that resulted in, you being able to do some of the stuff that you did, right? And but they really lost their edge. I mean, they really lost. ChatGTP came out, and it just, it was just a cannonball in the deep end of the pool, and just, everything
Well, I
came
mean, they
out.
spent a lot of time, effort, and money on making a car, and then had to abandon the car. And then they moved all the people that they had working on the technology of creating a vehicle into AI. And so that's part of the reason why they weren't doing a whole lot. They really had invested heavily in having an Apple car.
And a lot of R&D also, and the rollout of that whole Vision Pro headset, which is,
Yeah.
still kind of in its infancy. It's I didn't go buy one. I went and tried it on at the mall right at the Apple store, and the guy who was given the tour could have cared less if I was sitting there or if it was a box sitting there in the chair, right? It wasn't as compelling as I thought it would be. But apparently now that you can do a big wide screen in front of you, that would be more right. But I'm not going to walk around in public or go to a coffee shop or something like that with a ski
I'm not
mask
paying
on.
$3,000 for a headset. That's just stupid. I mean, anybody that I see with that, well, I mean, I don't see people with them on anymore, but I used to be like, what an idiot walking around with that thing on your head. You can pay $3,300 for a pair of glasses. That's just ridiculous, you know. So I can't wait to see what the next version. I'm sure the next version will probably be half that price, you
Oh
know.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
already talking about a lightweight one. Apparently, one of the big expense and one of the things that like really slowed them down was being able to project, see your eyes on the inside and project them outside, so
On the
somebody could
outside,
see that you were,
looking at them.
lucid, right? And but I think they're going to get rid of that. I think they're going to make it with some lighter weight materials instead of all the heavy, expensive materials. I think they're going to push a little bit more into the gaming aspect of it, make it a little more of like a home entertainment than a work thing, right? Because they kind of
Right,
made it
right.
like a work thing in the initial launch, right? It does a lot of stuff, but it seemed like it was very kind of focused on internal Apple applications, which is kind of like Microsoft Office, right? If you want to come right down to it, it's Keynote, it's that kind of stuff, Sheets and whatever else they call it, right? So to me, it's like they're all around the edges of it with all kinds of projects, but like nobody like saw it coming, right? That was a weird thing, right?
What what the chat
The
and the
ChatGTP, and
chat
they did
interface?
they didn't jump on it like, usually springtime technologies, they're like, this is hotter than a firecracker, right? And we're going to get going on this, and uh it didn't seem like they did, right? And they're like, oh yeah, we got this, right? And then it's like, but anyway.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I don't see a lot of I don't I got to see a use case for it. And I have not seen a good use case for it yet.
Not one.
So, right.
Not uh and
That's the
and
biggest problem.
and it's integrated. I mean, it's there in like everywhere I go, but I'd rather go use the other thing. I don't know why. I just like haven't taken to it. The image
Yeah.
playground is absolutely horrible. That's one thing. That's like a joke compared to the other image generators. Yeah, it's like image playground that they got. I don't know if you played with it. It's the Apple
No.
Intelligence image. Essentially, you pick out
Oh no.
three three activities and group them together. So you'll say a fish, a bicycle, and a umbrella, right? And they will make a fish riding a bike. It's the worst thing you've ever seen in your life, right? It's so if you're in a chat session, right, with somebody and you want to send them something that there no emoji exists like that, right?
Oh, okay,
You
yeah.
can crank one up real quick and knock one right out.
Okay.
Yeah,
That is okay. Whatever. This
that's not a
emoji thing.
that's not a
But
use case. That's a feature.
so did you play with like I know Meta kind of played around and launched a free standalone Meta AI app. So have you
So
downloaded that?
I had to because as predicted, they essentially took the standalone app that they used to call Meta View that I use for the glasses, and that
Right.
is now the Meta standalone app, Meta AI standalone app. With just another tab across the bottom. That's the glasses, and the glasses exist on their own little tab if you have them. If you don't have them, you won't even see the glasses tab. It's
Okay.
interconnected. You can share, so you can generate stuff right there, and you can share it right into a social feed that's right there. Um, Yesterday in the newsletter, this is kind of mixed, but yesterday in the newsletter, I published a video of a woman. She's Tarlev is her last name. I don't remember her first name. And she's with Benchmark Capital. She's invested in startups and startup VC, right? And she was talking about right now, there's not a good social layer to share your outcome of your prompts, right? Like, hey, folks, look at this. I did this. Everybody was sharing Studi Ghibli, but not like, on the reg, right? And then there's not a way to share the prompt that essentially got it that way. But this thing in the Meta AI is essentially that. It's a way to share the prompt that you did to create the image or the whatever if it's some writing or whatever, right? And then it's you can also share the outcome. So, and she's saying that that's a thing that's not like ChatGTP doesn't have that, Perplexity
Yeah, they
doesn't have,
will.
you
That's
know.
coming.
Yeah, everybody's moving towards the social. They want to be in charge of that whole cycle from creation of the whatever, right? The
Right.
thing that hangs on the action figure, right, all the way through to the social and
The
us liking it.
comments, the sharing, yeah, the interactions. And there's some talk, I think, that OpenAI is getting ready to get into social space.
Yeah. They said the report I posted said that Sam was had something on it, one of his devices, and he was taking it around to different events and showing it to people, kind of like a proof of concept kind of a thing. What do you think? What's your input? That sort of thing.
Oh, well, if he's showing it, then it's coming.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Interesting.
everybody wants to be in control of that. Like I said, the entire cycle. And your friend Mike, again, to bring Mike back into the conversation, your friend Mike posted a news article. I think it was late last night or early this morning about how Meta essentially has taken over. Uh, Mark Zuckerberg essentially said, "Brands, give us access to your credit card or your wallet. We'll generate the images, we'll generate the right text, we'll do all the testing for you, we'll do everything for you. We've got the audience, and you can get the leads, and just give us access, and we'll take care of the whole spectrum of that stuff." And how he just came right out and said it, right? Like, we'll take it from concept to dollars in your wallet, right? And but at the same time, I did the counterpoint. They've also created this same layer for us. Their new they have a new video editor that they put into Instagram, right? Just like CapCut on TikTok, right? It's called Edits. That's what it's called. They're starting to put in a social layer, generative AI, and you can send it right out to the social feed right through there. You could either be that house that gets that deal and uses their platform to do it, or they could be the platform to do it all. They just want everybody there, right? And all of their things, right? WhatsApp and Messenger and Threads and Insta and Facebook and everything else he's creating. Meta now, the glasses, that's a big thing. He's got a lot of people bought these glasses. I was at my doctor's office the other day and I had them on, and the nurse that checks me in and did the finger prick for the blood and everything, she's like, "Oh, you got the AI glasses? I got them at home. I got them off of the TikTok." She's like, I got a pair too. Right? Everybody's got them now, right? So it's a product that's gotten a lot of uptake versus all these other ones that you and I have talked about that really just didn't work, right? His thing came out of the gate and it worked. They continue to build on it, right? It was kind of cool when I was like, well, I started with this like when it was like just brand new and they were allowing me like early access to the AI. And now the app that I've been using is their AI app, right? I kind of felt like I got I keep getting more out of the product, is what I'm saying, right? You don't find that in a whole lot of products as they get older, right? It's usually, the opposite. You're getting the step down, right? So, uh, kudos to Mark, right? I don't like everything that Mark does, right? But he's going after it. He's really going after it. And, like I said, he's spending the most, according to New York Times, I think it was.
Oh, big time,
Yeah.
big time. And, up until a couple of weeks ago, they actually still have more users than
Oh, yeah.
ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah. And
So
between all their, when you think about all their different outlets and all the
platforms, yeah,
different countries and all the different languages, oh my God, you know,
yeah, they got a lot of data that they can pull from.
and
All right, did
trained
you hear
from.
about OpenAI's acknowledgement that they had a faulty update to ChatGPT 4?
I did see that, and they said it was just being just too nice and too agreeable, and they did what Walmart does, and they did a rollback essentially, and said this thing's being too nice, and it's not being counterpoint at all. Apparently, it's just being So yeah. Well,
Telling
tell me
you
more about it.
everything's great.
I saw the headline and read a couple quips and I don't know, what a social post. I really didn't dig into that far. Tell me more about it. I didn't dig that far.
It says OpenAI acknowledged that they had a faulty update to GPT-4. Um, it was excessively agreeable. Basically, it was praising even bad or dangerous ideas. And then Sam Altman rolled it back to a change within days. Then he apologized, saying they missed the mark on that with the last update. And now they're changing how it deploys updates. So they plan to test new models in an opt-in alpha phase with volunteer users, and then we'll push it to future models. So it'll be in that phase first, where it can make some tweaks before they roll it out to the public. You know, and they're also beefing up safety reviews to treat issues like bizarre personality shifts or hallucinations as launch blocking problems that must be fixed before release. Now, here's the thing: if they release something that was so uh, agreeable, I'm glad they're making some adjustments to the safety before they put something out there that was not agreeable excessively. So we'll see how that works. You know,
Well, if you want to do that in comparison to like what Zuckerberg was talking about with his behemoth, it's like, he's like the guardrails on this like need to be like 20 foot high is like it seemed like he was saying, right? And that's the only way that we're going to keep this semi on the highway. Apparently, is what it kind of seemed like, right? And so I've always, being somebody who's rolled out products and rolled out, software and rolled out different things. I've always erred to the side of caution, right? Like you want to be more cautious rather than less cautious. I think so. That's good in my mind. I don't think that's it's not a good look when your product is like too passive, right? But it's we're all still learning this. I don't know if you know her. I've been friends with her on Facebook for a long time, but Bonnie Factor, she posts all kinds of stuff about AI, but a lot of news articles. And she said there's no generals in AI yet, right? There's nobody that's like been doing this 20 years that's not getting paid like $15 million a year right now, right? There's
Right.
nobody who's deep knowledge of this that's just your average Joe right now. We're all just learning this. And I was like, I posted, I was
Well, I
like,
mean, I mean, what is she talking about? The layperson or the people that's actually developing the thing?
she's talking about the general person that's talking about AI in the channels
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
right? The
They're
me
all
and
full of
yous,
shit.
right?
Yeah. They're all full of shit,
Right?
and there is no expert in these realms. I mean, it's just how it's like saying you're an expert at raising an adult and the kid's only a year and a half old. I mean, how does that work?
Yeah. I,
You
I,
know?
I responded with, I'm waiting for the job postings to come out with, we're looking for 10 plus years of ChatGTP plus experience right now, right? Because they will say that sooner or later it will become, we want, multiple years of,
It's coming. And
yeah.
I think, yeah, that's going to be though a very in demand thing if it's not already. I
There's
mean,
a,
there are a lot of experts, and there's a lot of people that come to me and want, work done. But I think the amount of work that is coming and the amount of need that will be in the market is going to be pretty massive.
yeah, it's going to be insane. I started playing around a little bit earlier today. I had about an hour before I had to get ready, and I, for the first time, I pushed past the fear. I went to bolt.new. I logged in, and I gave it a few statements to do the start building out, just conceptualizing the
Yeah,
white label media platform, right? And it did some of it, but the thing that I found most interesting is I wanted it to also be able to create a editor or a writer or a columnist, right? A tech reporter or a financial reporter or whatever, right? Name that person and pick like what the person's personality traits were and essentially like have them have a perspective and write the news from that perspective, right? Because like every newspaper, every magazine has its own perspective on whatever story and they write it from that perspective. But I want these to do the same thing. I don't want to just keep putting out other people's content all the time, right? I want to generate my own, but I want it to be unique content and just essentially go out, find the stories and find like the AP version, right? Like just the facts, ma'am, and kind of write their own spin on it, right? Like you were talking about you do with your assistant last week, right? Um, and I was surprised in like the same 20 minutes that you were talking about last week, right? I ran out of processing power or whatever compute. They wanted me to sign up for a plan, right? But it generated this thing, and I was able to create a new character. It generated 4 or 5 of them for me. I didn't try and get any of them to write anything, but in 20 minutes in front of a web browser, John, I created some code and it did something, but I wasn't aware of what all it could do. And man, it wrote a lot of code to do it. And I was like, you really don't need to go to all this trouble, right? I mean, I was looking for a pretty simple web interface, but it's powerful.
yeah, it's writing code like crazy right now, man. And
Yeah.
there's one that you can do now that'll create Apple iPhone apps. It'll code that up from a line of code. I mean, a line of code, a one line prompt. It's
Yeah.
kind of incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
This one, it seems like this one is bolt.new is where you can find it. And Bolt seems like it's more focused on like web apps, kind of like what Lovable is, right? Where Cursor and Windsurf and these other ones are more app kind of coding environments, right? Where you're building apps and a standalone app rather than a web app, which is, usually running in Chrome or something like that, right? I haven't tried that aspect of it yet, right? But I was amazed in just a little bit of time and a little bit of effort, like how much I was able to do.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to lead to a whole nother industry. And there was a story I put out again yesterday. AI got like $110 million. I don't know, 70 some $1 million. They are an observability platform for getting the bugs out of software that AI has written. Because apparently it's
Hmm.
pretty good at generating code, but a lot of people are doing it aren't really aware of like how to fix the bugs and everything. And this is more for enterprise, but it's essentially a tool to help you get rid of the bugs and help speed the plow. I think that it was Cast AI, or was Cast AI the optimizer? Anyway, the names all kind of fall together after a while. I should probably keep the browser open, but I'm afraid that it'll make the computer crash.
Well,
Yeah,
they need an app for that.
it's um it's kind of like after you're done with the coding, like run it through this and like let's help you make the
Right.
code like even better, right? And apparently it
Which you always can.
yeah, and apparently they've got some pretty high level partners that they've done some business with. And that's where the investment's coming from. There's high level partners that have used them and have used them to their benefit, and apparently have kind of started spreading the word. And this is their Series C fundraisers. I think they've got like uh, their valuation is just under 900 million. So they're an almost unicorn valuation at their current income ratio and investment ratio. So that there's a lot of that going on. Companies are writing stuff at the application layer, right? Developing applications, whether it be a web-based platform or a
Mhm.
standalone application, and getting large investments now, very large investments.
Crazy, right?
And Y Combinator said like their winter cohort that just did their pitch and stuff, like 80% of the code for all those startups was like AI written. Like,
It's crazy. No, I mean, I'm just thinking if you told us 2 years ago that all 80% of code from these new startup pitches would be written by computers, you'd have thought, dude, you're crazy. It'll never happen that fast. Blah 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 blah. Yet here we are.
yeah, when I was doing the Fin Plus AI conference, one of the companies that wanted to participate in that was a company called GFT Technologies, and they do banking applications mostly in the Central and South America market, right? But they're a fintech, and for the I don't think they're doing anything here in the U.S. But I was interviewing their CEO, and he was raving at that time, and this is almost 2 years ago now, at least a year and a half. He was raving about how they had discovered that they could save like 80% in their development time and the coding, right? Because there's a process for doing software. You don't just write software and
Right.
it's done, right? There's bugs and there's quality assurance and there's this and there's that. There's a sequence of events that happens. And he was ranting and raving, and I found that super interesting. And I didn't realize it was not just him, it was everybody. Everybody could do it. So excuse me
It's
there.
huge, huge stuff in the e-com space. Um, You can now shop on ChatGPT. I don't know if you saw that in a search, but you can search for products on ChatGPT and then buy without ever leaving the chat. That's coming. The buy part's coming. Right now, it's able to list things from different platforms.
And it gives you hyperlinks out to that product is how it's working now.
And yeah, you can go right to the page and buy on that product right now. But they're got a partnership now with Shopify, where they're going to have a buy now button for Shopify items, which will allow you to check out in ChatGPT without leaving the platform.
So the Shopify will essentially become like you can do like a Google listing right now. You can do I think they call it a Google catalog of your products, and when people search Google, like that's the first thing that pops up, like right underneath the search. So this will be essentially that, but using Shopify to as the catalog of products.
Right, but yes, because Google's, shopping, it's still an ad. So you click that and it takes you to the platform or whoever the vendor is, and you buy it from that platform. This is going to allow you to buy from that vendor. However, you never leave ChatGPT's platform.
Hmm. So So if Shopify's in there, who else is part? I imagine Stripe's in there as a partner on that deal because Stripe and Shopify are like that as far as like you can add your Shopify
Mm,
or I'm
we'll see.
sorry Stripe.
We'll
So
see. I mean, Shopify does have their own payment processor. They have Shop Pay. So my guess is that it'll only be Shop Pay in the beginning, so they can control end to end what's going on, what data is being fed back and forth. Because that's going to be the most important part. That there's going to be some shared data between the two, and probably bringing on a third party on top of that will be probably later down the road for a Stripe.
so you think it'll start with Shopify and then it'll be other e-commerce platforms that are similar to Shopify down the road, or you think that's like going to
I'm
be a long
I'm
term?
guessing yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
huh?
I'm guessing yes. I mean, can you see them doing that with Shopify, and then you can see them doing that with an Etsy, and then with an Amazon, and now you're bringing all those products, and then after they perfect that kind of thing, then they'll probably allow an API to your own store, right? Where they're able to pass that data on securely without dropping anything in the midst of the internets. That might be personal. Um, but yeah, it's going to be crazy to be able
So
to
they
shop, purchase, and everything right inside of ChatGPT.
And so they've said that the Google searches are Google's starting to lose its domain of be it like I think it was this last month was the first time that Google has been like below 90% of search result searches since like 2015 I think it was I heard a comment real quick on a newscast, right? But I think that's what they said. And Complexity's kind of none of them have what Google has now, right? They got 90% of them, even at 90% of the market. That's a good share, right? I mean, but Perplexity starting to eat out of the way a little bit. They want to be known as an AI search engine. That's kind of their game, right? I don't think Anthropic is really playing in that. I think Anthropic's a little more focused on the code stuff than that. But it's interesting with um, OpenAI having bought the coding company that they just bought, right? Just spent billions on one of the coding companies. I think it was Cursor, right? They acquired. Now making this deal with Shopify, like, and to bring the WorldCoin thing back into it, right? Well, I don't know. He's really making a play for it in like every realm. It seems like.
Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the I look at OpenAI as a suite of tools. Everybody else is just an LLM. These guys have a suite of tools. They've got search now. They've already had their LLM. They've got a image browser or generator. They've got, video generation. Um, and now, like you said, they're going to have coding with the AI coder. So they're playing the game similar to what I think uh, Canva is playing. Where Canva has these suite of tools. You pay one fee and you get access to massive amounts of uh applicational business applicational tools, and I think that's what OpenAI is doing and wants to be.
It's funny. That's what I was Mark Zuckerberg or whoever does his account on Facebook posted some stuff about the LlamaCon, right? And I said to him, "What you guys need is a Canva-like layer in Facebook, in the Meta AI, in all of them, where we don't have to go outside of there to create, because they keep trying to figure out like how can we charge a subscription to Facebook, right? They want to do that. They want tiers of Facebook, right? And if they had a creation layer, I mean, people are paying to have
Yeah,
a
people would pay
annual
that.
subscription, right? I mean,
Yeah,
and then think of this. Then it's just like what your friend Mike was talking about. You have the full creation and the customers. All you got to do is bring a product into the platform, and you got the creation, you got the customers. You can go market through Facebook. You can go market, and if you're paying for a subscription, then they don't have to put that algorithm where it, kind of restricts you, right? They don't need to do that. Let you go and let you go push it, right? Go push your product, and everywhere you can push it on Facebook, all around the world, right? Without, of course there's going to be ads, it's the internet, there's going to be
well,
ads,
I mean,
right?
that's
But
the only way you're going to really make money. That's the only way you're really going to make money. All of it is ad driven. All content is ad driven. On every platform, whether that's old school radio, TV, internets, it's all ad. When there's eyeballs, we want to put advertising, and people will pay for the eyeballs on their advertising.
yep, they said they're going to start putting ads in the ChatGTP interface, maybe just on the freebie scale for right now, right on that end of the scale, right? But I mean, there's so much free AI out there, and so much free courses, and so much information that and stuff that they just want to get you involved, right? They just it's
Yeah,
just out
but
there, folks.
I remember. I mean, that's how these things start. I remember back in the day, there was so much information on how to do web, right? It was how to build a web page and all of that stuff. That was all free. Then it became when podcasting came out. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff about how to create your podcast for free. This is how it starts.
Yeah. The education and introduction to
Yes.
education and exposure, right? Firsthand exposure, right? Firsthand experience. Um, like I said, I'm starting to dip my toes in. I've essentially pulled back on how often I'm doing the newsletter. I did do it Monday and Tuesday, I think, which was kind of unusual. But uh, I don't know if you saw. I put the third episode's been put out now. That's out in full, as well as all the clips. And the clips are, some of them are banging on YouTube. Man, we're getting thousands of views on some of the clips on YouTube. So
That's awesome.
not the full ones. Nobody's interested in our full hour. Apparently,
Yeah,
I'm boring as
there you
hell.
go.
So,
That's okay. I mean, that's the way it works. You make long form content, you break it up into small form content, and that's the thing that people will eat and munch on. So we make munchies. It takes us an hour, but then after that, it's all about the munchies.
yeah, and uh, it's a great way to feed people back to it. I really haven't pushed the concept of like, hey, here's a short reel, and the big one's over here. Like, come over here and watch the big one, right? Um, I really haven't pushed that concept yet, but I think just I put the full reel out all over all the social media, and I think it'll probably get some play. Um, I think I need to quit worrying about it. I do know that we are starting to get popular because we're starting to get people making comments and subscribing to the YouTube channel. So that's good.
There you go. There you go. Hey, I remember, you remember when you were a kid and you'd have to build a snowman. It starts with a small, pebbles worth of snow, and you keep rolling it, and the bigger it gets, the bigger its footprint gets, the more snow it'll pick up, and the faster it grows. And that's what happens here. So no, I wouldn't sit around and obsess about numbers. It's just let's just obsess about making sure we do the podcast every week and get the content out there, and the rest will take care of itself. Because if we're doing things that people like, and trust, they'll come back.
Yeah. They're liking the concept of the AI bros. I think even the GTP, I was doing some stuff to write up the episode. Right, it's
Uh,
like that's a really smart way to approach AI as a podcast, right? Because people don't feel intimidated, by
yeah,
your expert knowledge or opinion or
right.
anything, right? Or
Yeah,
your technical talk or any of that high level stuff, right? It's
yeah.
just
That's
a
the
couple of
faulty
guys.
update. That's the
Yeah,
faulty update.
yeah.
No, I'm saying that's the faulty update we were just talking about.
It was
It's
just
just
being
praising
nice. It was
every
being nice
bad
to
or
me.
dangerous. Yes, it's praising every bad or dangerous idea you come up.
You know, you
So
might
there
be
you
right.
go.
You might be right. It was ChatGTP that day, as a matter of fact, that I was working on. So maybe you were maybe we're
Yeah,
doing it
there you
totally
go.
wrong.
It was just everything. Everything's great. That's good, fantastic, John. I mean, like, man, this is so crazy. Somebody, one guy was posting. He said that um, uh, he did a shit on a stick. Right? You got to bleep that. But it was a shit on a stick idea for a business. They came back and said, "Oh, that's a great idea," and everything.
Yeah,
So
rocks, right? Yeah,
yes,
let's do
hey, that was a great idea.
that.
Hey, who would have
Guys,
knew?
still making money off that thing.
Is
Still
he
making.
still making money on it? God,
I'm sure there's somebody selling it still, or using the brand name for something or something, right? Like I don't
yeah,
know,
yeah. It is
but
part of the human lexicon at this point.
yeah, it's
That's
and,
crazy.
yeah. I really think you with the right marketing, almost anything can be sold, right? I mean,
Yeah,
seriously.
yeah. Well, I that was the end of my roll of news.
That's it. That's the whole. Where are we at? I don't even know what time we got. We got 3:50, so we're coming into the end
We're
here. We
coming
don't.
in. Yeah,
Yeah, we're coming in
we
for
didn't
a
do too
landing
bad.
here. It's Friday afternoon, isn't it? Jesus, it's Friday
Yeah,
afternoon
exactly.
here.
I'm
So
ready to take a nap.
you too. Yeah, it's
That's that's what us old guys do. We take naps. Senior all the way, bro.
yep. So
I'm
there
getting
we are,
used to it.
folks. Me and John will be back again next week with balloons and what we get if we get put two of them up there, we get fireworks or something, don't we?
Is
And we
that
get
what it
a
is?
thumbs up,
Yes,
thumbs
two
up.
of those, right?
There's a fireworks. We get all that.
Why
There you go.
my fireworks aren't even working? Oh well.
It's I think it's
Normally.
yeah. Anyway, one of them's lasers, but I've never gotten the laser one down with the those things. That does
That's
the laser in
crazy.
the background. Yeah, but that's the
It
Apple
always does
pipeline.
it when I'm not expecting it to do it.
Yeah, when you're sitting there and you like scratch your face with your thumb or
Yeah, it's
something,
like,
it's like thumbs up. Yeah. Oh, great.
yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. But
But
yeah, we
much
will
love.
be
Enjoy
here.
your weekend. We'll be here next
You
week
too.
again, and we'll get this out as quickly as possible. I think we're getting them out in a pretty timely manner, and it's moving right along here. So I'm happy with the results. I'm sure you guys are too. Everybody loves us. So onward and upward.
Peace.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.